Hi, welcome to the Classic Guitar Rock channel. I'm Jeremy. Wanted to check in and talk about a brand new album. Brand new. It came out on Friday, May the 13th, from the Graham Bonnet Band. And if you've been following the channel or listened to the Classic Guitar Rock podcast, you'll know that we actually had Graham on as a guest and we interviewed Graham. And I would absolutely recommend that you go out and check out that interview we did with him. He sat down with us for about an hour and we talked about, at the time, it was this upcoming album, which has since come out. And so I'm super excited to talk about it with you. First of all, I'm a huge Graham Bonnet fan, and he's always been one of my favorite singers. And it was like a dream come true for me to be able to sit down and have a conversation with a really nice guy, and enjoyed it, and hopefully can get together with him again at another point. And so the new Graham Bonnet Band album is out. I want to talk about it, but first I want to share one little item with you. You know, the problem with broadcasting in a lazy boy is you're lazy. But I want to talk to you not about a guitar. I want to talk to you about this strap. This is a strap from the Lekato company, Lekato, Lekato. And I have to tell you, man, I got this strap. I'm going to actually take it off of my high dollar Squire Telecaster. I'm going to take the guitar off and I want to actually talk about the strap. Now, if you've played guitars, especially if you play heavy guitars, I like Les Pauls. They tend to be heavy. This is a phenomenal guitar strap. Look at how thick that is. I've had kind of thicker, heavier straps in the past, but the kinds that I've used tend to like pull on my shirt and it would never be comfortable. This one is so comfortable. Look at how thick that is. Obviously, it's a guitar strap, right? So it's fully adjustable, really heavy duty. I've been using it for several months now. It's just a great guitar strap. They come in different colors. Again, the brand is Lekato, Lekato. You definitely want to check out one of these straps. And one of the cool things, I don't have it with me, but one of the cool things in the package that they sent several really cool picks and 4 little, the rubber strap lock things that you just put right around here and they help hold your guitar. And they're awesome. Those are my favorite kind of strap locks, guys. I got a couple of the mechanical strap locks. I just like the little rubber rings. They're so much easier. They're cheaper, right? And they work great. So they throw in this strap, they throw in the picks and the strap locks with this strap. This is my favorite strap, and I'm going to get more because they work so great. I like the fact that they're just like a normal skinny strap that I'm used to on this end, but over my shoulder, and the older I get, the more I appreciate it, is this nice padded soft part. So, and if you play a lot, you got to have a good strap. That might not seem like a big deal. You might think I can buy the $5 straps. It makes a big difference, especially if you're playing heavier guitars. You can use it for guitar, bass, whatever. But I just wanted to share this with you. Lekato, Lekato. Check them out. You can find them all over the place online. Lekato straps. Great strap. Now, let's talk about Graham Bonnet. Now, a little history on Graham. If you don't know, Graham really got his first fame. His first success was in the late 60s with a duo called the Marbles. He played with his cousin who had actually worked with the Bee Gees. And in fact, Barry Gibb and the Bee Gees had written this song called Only One Woman, which came out in 1968, was a huge hit for the Marbles. They really had that one big hit and another couple songs that were kind of hits, but it was really that song that put Graham Bonnet on the map. And after that, he had some success doing some solo things. At one point, he was even talked about being an ELO. He talks about this in the interview, by the way. But it really wasn't until 1978 when a little band called Rainbow, featuring Richie Blackmore and a singer named Ronnie Dio, they needed a new singer. Ronnie Dio was leaving the band. They had already started working on the album that would become Down to Earth when Ronnie left. And again, go back to the interview because Graham actually talks about how his name came up as the replacement. It's a funny story. Well, to make a long story short, they bring Graham Bonnet in. Richie had always loved that song, Only One Woman. And in the back of his mind, he was always, had that voice in his head. That would be a great person to have. And sure enough, they hooked up with Graham Bonnet. They brought him in. Graham at this point was really not into hard rock, was not really familiar with Rainbow. They brought him in and he famously auditioned without a microphone. He just belted it out. They offered him the job on the spot. And he had to kind of think about it. He's like, I don't know if I'm right for this band. He tells a funny story. In fact, Cozy Powell, who was the drummer for Rainbow, referred to Graham Bonnet as the bank manager. They called him the bank manager because while everyone else has long hair and they're looking like rock stars, Graham Bonnet comes in dressed like a bank manager with his short hair and glasses. And from the outside looking in, you would not think Graham Bonnet would be the guy. But once they heard his voice, wow. And so the rest is kind of history. He did the album with Rainbow, and he eventually teamed up again with Cozy Powell in the Michael Schenker group, did one album with Schenker, 2 phenomenal albums, by the way, Down to Earth, Assault Attack with Schenker, and then he left Schenker. That's a whole nother story for another episode. And then eventually he starts Alcatraz with the guitar player named Yngwie Malmsteen. Again, the rest is history. The first Alcatraz album should absolutely be in every classic metal fan's collection. It's completely over the top. The guitar playing, Graham singing, it's all awesome. You should own it. If you don't have it, go stop this video right now. Go get Alcatraz No Parole from Rock and Roll. So Graham was now kind of established, by the early to mid 80s as he's working with Alcatraz. He's already kind of established now as a great singer. Everyone knows who he is. He's got a unique look. He's never left that kind of James Dean, neatly combed hair, got the glasses. He just didn't look like your typical rock star, but man, the guy could sing. And he has kind of plugged along as a journeyman, performing with lots of different groups, Impellitteri, Blackthorn, a lot of different projects, his solo projects over the years. And he reformed with, a couple things happened, right? He performed with a group called Alcatraz featuring Graham Bonnet. Okay. And then he actually reformed with 2 of the original members of Alcatraz, Gary Shea and the other guy, not remembering his name right now, but he actually reformed with 2 of the former members of Alcatraz and performed as Alcatraz. They released an album here about 2 years ago, which is not a bad album, but he also has had a couple Graham Bonnet Band albums. Well, this latest album is from the Graham Bonnet Band, and it's called Day Out in Nowhere. And it reunites the impetus of that Graham Bonnet Band, which of course is Graham, a phenomenal guitar player named Conrado Pezzinato, and a bass player named Bethany Heavenstone. They were on the first Graham Bonnet Band album, and they're back on this Graham Bonnet Band album. And guys, don't mean to be a spoiler, but the album is awesome. It's a great album. I was so excited when I heard it because, to be honest, the last Alcatraz album, it wasn't a bad album. It wasn't a bad album. But this album to me seems to fit Graham much better. Graham to me, this is according to Jeremy. Graham to me seems like he's kind of been pigeonholed into this heavy metal stuff. He sings it really well, but I'm not sure that's really who he is. Well, this new album, it's heavy, it's heavy, but it has a different sensibility than the last Alcatraz album. The choruses are hookier. Um, it's easier to sing along with, if that makes sense. But at the same time, it has phenomenal guitar playing in it. The drumming is better on this album. And I have a beef with some of the double bass drumming. Like, I wasn't wild about it on the last Alcatraz. And it's not a slam against the drummer at all. It's just that style of the constant double bass, it just loses so much of the dynamic and the space that I like. Well, the drumming's much better on this album. When I say better, the drumming is more to my taste on this album. Yes, you hear some of the double bass stuff, but there's more space in it. There's more air. I just like it better on this album. And of course, the guitar playing throughout. Conrado is a phenomenal guitar player. He does the Yngwie style stuff, but he tends to be able to blend. So it's not all just Yngwie, right? It's not just that style. He plays that very well, but he also plays, and I don't mean this to sound disparaging, the poppier sounding stuff, which I like, the catchier sounding stuff as well. So Conrado does a great job doing all the styles that you need to do a Graham Bonnet album. There's some guests on here, most notably Don Airey. Now, Graham obviously played with Don Airey in Rainbow, and I love Don Airey. He is one of my favorite keyboard players, and they do a song together that is entitled "It's Just a Frickin' Song." And I like that one. That's a good one. The track listing, now, they released Imposter, gosh, probably a month or so before the album came out. So you maybe have heard Imposter. I love Imposter. It's a great kickoff track. The video is really cool because it references Graham's career, right? There's a scene where Graham's looking in the mirror and you see current day Graham looking in the mirror to a younger Graham from the 70s, right? And it's just kind of cool to see that. And in the background, there are TVs playing, videos from throughout Graham's career. It's just kind of cool to see that. Another song, and this is one that Graham actually talks about on our interview episode, is called Uncle John. Very dark. The subject matter is dark. It's about a teacher that Graham had at one time who it turned out this guy was a pedophile. And as you can imagine, this is a very dark, creepy song. And it's about that, so very heavy. That's one of the things that I've always loved about Graham is he writes songs about all kinds of stuff. Kree Nakuri, Hiroshima Mon Amour, Bigfoot, Skyfire, Star Car Lane. You think about just the broad category of songs that he has sung about is really phenomenal. Another great song on this album is called 12 Steps to Heaven. What do you think that's about? That's about a recovery program, right? And it's just a great song. There's a song called David's Mom, which is kind of a song about one of his, it sounds autobiographical, about one of his friends' moms who'd kind of come on to him. So it's an interesting song. Perhaps the heaviest song on the album features Jeff Loomis, by the way, who's a great guitar player. It's called Jester. Really heavy, great guitar riffage. The surprise track to me, and this again just kind of shows the broad scope that Graham has in his songwriting, and he's not afraid to do different things. The last song it's a beautiful song. It's called Susie. And again, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'll just spoil it for you. It's a full-on string orchestra, and it's beautiful. And not what you're expecting, especially right after you've heard a song like Jester. But if you're a fan, what I like about this with the keyboards especially, now the last Alcatraz album, again, not a bad album, but what I really like about this new Graham Bonnet Band album is, to me, it brings in the cool elements that I really liked about Rainbow. And a big part of that is the keyboards, the blending of the keyboard and the guitar, a lot of cool B3 parts. Obviously on the Don Airy stuff, the keyboard part's going to be awesome. But the keyboard player throughout the rest of this album, sorry, I got to look at the guy's name. Alessandro Bertoni on keyboards, and the drummer is a guy named Shane Galas. They're both phenomenal, but the keyboarding, especially by Alessandro Bertoni, it's really good. So if you were fans of the Rainbow stuff, the keyboards in Rainbow, you will like this, because to me, it really harkens back to the Rainbow era keyboard stuff. And it's a really good album. Like I said, the big choruses, the subject matter in terms of lyrics is always interesting on a Graham Bonnet album. This one is no exception. But I was immediately impressed with the hooks, right? The combination of Conrado's hooks, guitar hooks, and then vocal hooks, it really works. It's a great album. I'm super excited. I was excited because I'm a huge Graham fan. I was excited that he had an album out, but I was a little concerned too, because the last Alcatraz album, again, not a bad album, but this is so much better. If you're a Graham Bonnet fan, you will love this album. If you're not a Graham Bonnet fan or not familiar with Graham Bonnet, you could very well love it, but I know you'll at least like it. It is a good, solid album. Great performances from Graham, from the rest of the band, the guests that join. It's a great album. So I'm super excited that it came out. I was super excited to have the chance to talk to Graham about it. And I would highly recommend Day Out in Nowhere. It's a phenomenal album. It's on Frontier Records. You can get it anywhere. There's even a vinyl version available that you can get. So check it out, Graham Bonnet. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't yet, please check out the Classic Guitar Rock podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.